the truth.
More than anything, just I keep thinking about Kevin and Clay and you know, the severity of the injuries. You know, injuries are always a part of the playoffs, and whoever wins generally you know, has a lot of good fortune along the way. We've been in that position, and oftentimes you know, injuries play a role when you lose, but very rarely, if ever, in the finals. Has there ever been, you know, an Achilles tear from a star player in the final? I don't remember anything like this. I remember, you know, Kareem spraining his ankle, or, you know, Magic Johnson and Byron Scott pulling hamstrings. I remember stuff like that, but for Kevin to rupture his Achilles and then Clay to tear his ACL in back-to-back finals games, how do you process that, ever?
On top of that, I mean, how do you process looking forward to knowing that they're going to be out for a significant chunk of time next season?
Yeah. So it's hard to even picture, you know, what next year's team will look like at this point, and we'll see how it all shakes out. And we're hoping to have both those guys back. And if that's the case, it'd be great, but neither one would be available for quite a while to play. So our team's going to look a lot different next year.
Steve, way back on maybe.
Be ready to go in late September.
With all the questions hanging over the team, is there any part of you that wonders if this could be the end of the dynasty?
No. I don't look at it or think about it in those terms. I really don't. You know, Steph's going to be back next year, and Draymond's going to be back, and you know, we're going to have a bunch of the players from here, and we can still be really good. And you know, assuming we get, you know, some breaks health-wise. You know, Clay, KD, that, you know, they recover, it could be really good again. So I don't look at it from that standpoint at all.
Steve, on that note, I mean, Bob was mentioning the Spurs, like they weren't always the favorite, but they had obviously that long run of sustained success and always a chance. How do you see that applying to this organization?
I think the similarity is the internal culture, the internal stability. Having been in San Antonio for all those years, I felt it through Tim Duncan, David Robinson, the core guys who were there, who provided that foundation. And our team is the same way, with the strength of the group, the character of the group. You know, guys like Steph and Clay and Draymond and Andre, Kevin, all these guys, just because of who they are and because of their commitment to one another, it's gonna survive whatever adversity comes our way, just like it did throughout this whole season with everything that happened. Here we were with you know, a chance to force a Game 7 in the finals without you know, some key guys. So we were right there. So we will continue to survive and thrive.
You talked during the season about how DeMar.
He's incredible at his job, one of the best in the business. And I think on the outside looking in, everybody looks at a GM and says, well, how is this guy as a GM? Here's who he picked. The term is general manager. It's not general picker. You know, it's general manager. Bob manages people. He manages our coaching staff. He manages the players. So what he means to the group goes way beyond who he picked with the 39th pick in 2013. And yet, you know, most of what's covered media-wise is, you know, every basketball move. Jerry West, probably the best GM of all time, once said, if you bat 500 as a GM, you're doing great. 1 out of every 2 getting right, that's a hell of a record. So nobody's going to get them all right. In fact, most people are going to get them rolling more often than not. But the stability that Bob provides, the humanity, the friendship, the guidance, the counsel, that doesn't grow on trees. That doesn't show up in an analytics book. That doesn't show up in anything other than an exceptionally gifted, compassionate, smart human being. So Bob's value is of the utmost importance to
You talked
our
about
organization.
You talked about just the injuries and a lot of the different.
For a loop. So I have no idea what Kevin's going to do. I know that we all want him back, and we think this is a great situation for him, and vice versa. So hopefully we get him back and keep this thing going with the understanding that he's a free agent, and we want what's best for him, and he's free to make any choice he wants. So hopefully he's back, and we will all give him any advice, any counsel that he needs, and ultimately he's going to make his own decision. He's earned that.
You have so many talents.
I feel like he'll be after this summer.
I'm excited about. I'm excited about the summer.
Yeah, me too.
I'm sure you guys all are. But I have no doubt I'll be refreshed and recharged and ready to go. I love this job. I love doing what I do. I love working with the people that I work with every day. So I'll be ready to go. But yeah, I need a little vacation. And you guys do too. So
Yes, we do.
Thanks for everybody. Enjoyed working with all of you this year.
What might be available with a late draft pick? What's realistic as far as any needs that are filled with the draft?
I don't know. The draft. We'll see. I mean, the draft too. I mean, I hate to keep kicking the can down the road, but Looney was a guy that a lot of people said couldn't help us, and he's starting in the last game in Oracle last night. So Jacob didn't get much time this year. What'll happen next year? Damian started and got hurt. Jordan Bell played and didn't play and played more. And at that point in the draft, I think you try to get a guy that'll eventually be a rotation guy, but I don't. It's I just can't believe it's in 5 days. I gotta. After this, we gotta do that. So.
Can you comment for kind of saying, I don't know what I'm allowed to say. All I'll say is that those guys are highly important to us and deserving of being rewarded in the right manner. So we would, knowing them too as people, those are people that you, beyond what everybody here sees, we get to see a little, the curtain keeps getting more and more open. The media, the fans get to see more and more of us, but there is some stuff you don't see, which we get for ourselves. And so to see those two guys, not just them, but our whole team, it's hard to find high quality people, and both of them are that. And so you just try to keep those guys within these walls the best you can.
What's your level of optimism that Kevin wants to return?
That's, I don't know, but he's, the guy's been, like I said, I mean, what more can we ask for from him? He's been everything to us. I mean, the guy been everything that we could have ever dreamed. Been an awesome member of this organization. I mean, there's so much stuff he does in the community that probably doesn't get as many headlines. The things he's done in DC, his foundation, how he kind of lives his life. It's like I said, we're lucky to have been around him. Hopefully we can keep doing that.
Bob, you're a free.
One of the great competitors I've ever been around, not just from a willingness to compete and fight, but a level of play that he reached during this postseason. When you combine all that, just his confidence, his competitive fight, his ability to keep cool under pressure. The guy's amazing.
How have you processed